My name is Jennifer Dezso, and I am a principal with the BTI Consulting Group, and I'm going to be leading today's webinar. Okay, so now we're going to move on into phase two. Phase one, sort of the easy step. It's the low-hanging fruit, if you will. And frankly, if you simply do phase one, you will see your work at a minimum grow more consistent from a client. But consistency is nice, but we're really interested in growing. So we're going to move into phase two, where this is where the real work for you starts to kick in. And this is developing a competitive advantage for yourself. Now, I'm sure we're all very familiar with, quite frankly, the overused term competitive advantage. It's being able to provide something to your clients that no one else can. However, I think few companies truly take this term to heart. I mean, let's say your firm was to get hit by the proverbial bus tomorrow. Would any other firm be able to replace what you provided to clients as perfectly as you do? If no, then you truly do have a competitive advantage. But most firms don't have that true competitive advantage in the market. So we need to carve out a competitive advantage. Well, where's our biggest and most untapped source of advantage for law firms? Luckily, BTI has interviewed more than 5,000 legal decision makers to find this out for you. And yes, here is BTI's famous chart, and I'm sure many of you have seen this already. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it today, but for the uninitiated, this chart is a map of the criteria that legal decision makers consider most important and most influential when they are hiring and evaluating law firms. Now, the activities in the upper right quadrant, these are your competitive advantage. These four activities: commitment to help, client focus, providing value, and understanding the client's business, are more important and more influential in differentiating one law firm from another when legal decision makers are making a hiring decision. So let's use this to our advantage to build business. First, a few market realities, because clients have essentially frozen their legal spending. So the only way that you are going to grow your book of business with clients is to steal work that you don't currently have from another law firm. The number one way to get hired is to deliver superior client service. I've just shared with you BTI's analysis showing that the number one way to differentiate yourself is also through superior client service. But how? So we need a way that we can channel superior service into business development. And superior service on its own is nice and it provides growth, but I'm really looking for high impact growth. And this requires going past superior service and focusing on the entire client experience. And this is called a market of one approach. And as the name implies, this is where you customize your service offerings for each of your clients. And this approach combines each of those activities in the upper right quadrant and uses those to create a client unique point of value in how you're delivering legal services to clients. And doing this not only allows you to deliver superior service, but a superior client experience that other law firms are not going to be able to match. Okay, so what's the difference between these two concepts, delivering superior service and creating a superior client experience? Well, client service happens during critical moments of interaction between the client and the firm. Client experience focuses on the entire chain of events surrounding those moments of interaction. And God, I just bored myself telling you that, so enough of the textbook definition. What this really means is, rather than simply responding well when you're directly interacting with the client, you're building up your understanding and you're focusing on the broader needs and situations that clients face. This is the client experience, digging at the full scope of interactions, not just how they felt at the end of the matter, but how they felt throughout different points of the entire process with you. So if we start focusing on these items, building these into our client relationships, then the client experience is going to improve and clients will keep coming back and spend more money with us. So let's start applying this concept of a market of one to building business and how you can start making this work immediately. First, we really want to pick one client that we're going to start this with. Crafting an individualized client experience, that takes a lot of work. From postmortems to making improvements based on their feedback and then building out and targeting opportunities, that's a lot to do. So will it get easier as you do more of them? Yes. But for the sake of seeing results quickly and for starting to grow our book of business, let's just pick one really prime target and do a beta test on them. Some criteria that we may want to consider for this beta test. First, we want to make sure that this is a client that relies heavily and continuously on outside counsel. We're not going to target our one client who happens to spend a lot of money every 10 years on a major litigation, but then there's not a lot of work in between those cycles. We also want to make sure that the client is using other law firms, preferably somewhere in the 4 and up range. You don't want someone who's going to be relying on you exclusively, because if you're the only firm that they rely on, there's not a lot of opportunity to get more business out of them. For your first target, I would also try to focus on a company with an uncomplicated business model. Don't start with a massive holding company with lots of subsidiaries and standalone business units and product lines that cross channels. Ultimately, those types of clients, they are going to be great targets, but not when you're first getting a handle on this whole idea of changing a client experience. And then finally, try not to target your most penny-pinching clients. There's always a few who balk at every bill, and they're always looking for the low ball bid. Again, there's ways to lessen rate pressure and make these clients profitable, but we're not looking to do that here. We're looking for a client who's really going to appreciate changes in the experience that is not related to us lowering our billing rate. Now, even though this is a market of one, you are not an army of one when it comes to developing business with clients, particularly when we are looking at a client experience, because many individuals are involved in working cases and they can help you improve the overall client experience. First, you need to, again, focus on the solution most appropriate for your individual client based on that feedback that you've received in the postmortem. That's what client experience is about, a unique experience. So let's say that during the postmortem, the client said they wished you just had more regular updates throughout the life of a matter. Well, moving forward, you will now know you need to provide regular updates to the client. But you don't have to do this yourself. You can work with a senior associate or somebody else to help you draft these client updates, maybe even send these client updates on a weekly or whatever frequency makes the most sense for the client basis. Maybe in the postmortem you found out that your client's also using another firm who's providing proactive updates to them. Maybe they're providing, employment regulatory compliance updates. Sure that you have some subscriptions to industry compilation providers, and you can likely pull in an associate or maybe someone from marketing and BD to start consolidating and compiling this information for you. I would probably focus on an area slightly different than what the competitor is providing to them, so you're not playing follow the leader. But the key here is you want to make sure that you're going to put the final touch on that update for them, provide a custom message on what's impacting them and some tactics for them to consider. Because while a lot of firms are sending updates, few firms are actually taking the next step on giving the clients some advice around what to do with that. Now, let's put a dose of reality in here for you. This technique is going to take a little time. If it was quick, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But then again, it wouldn't be such a powerful differentiator. There are going to be flat periods when you are growing your knowledge and your understanding of a client before you can truly start elevating their experience to new levels. But when you overcome a past pain point or improve a point in the experience, you're going to see a sharp uptick. You'll see another new matter come your way. And the more you make improvements, the quicker and the sharper the rise is going to be. First you'll get new matters, then you're going to get more complex matters. So there's going to be spurts and lulls in this entire process. And finally, much like we're targeting one client when we start, also focus on only making one change. Make it concrete, make it something you can measure so you know when it's improved. Don't just say generically that you are now going to improve the client experience. Pick what you're going to improve, specifically what you're going to do. The more specific you get, the easier it's going to be to lay out the process or the tools that you need to actually get this accomplished. The great news is most of what you start doing, it's actually going to be able to be transferred to other clients. So let me give you an example of what this would look like, and I want to give you concrete examples and not simply, methodologies here. So say again, communication was an issue with your client, and you've decided that you are going to target matter updates specifically. So you start working with an admin that is, the most organized person ever. And this is the person that you have him proofread and format all of your documents because he really is just the best. And so the two of you work on creating a new easy to read template to use to send matter updates to clients. Well, this is certainly something that you don't need to reinvent for every client. You don't need to get that specific in the experience. So just start using it with all your clients who prefer to have ongoing formal client or matter updates throughout the life of a project. With that, I do want to thank everyone again today for joining me. I do welcome you to reach out to me directly, and my number and my email are on the screen. Feel free to reach out to me if you have specific questions.